This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about Luka Doncic for MVP. Then we'll jump in with Jake, our patron, for some pretenders talk, which teams that are currently in the playoffs will not be there at the end of the year. And then we'll talk about the biggest disappointment so far through the NBA season. Let us know, obviously, down in the comments below what you think about any of our topics. We want to keep the conversation flowing, and if you like our content so much, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. You can help support us over there. Again, I tried to end the podcast while opening it, which I did. We restarted it, but I pushed through, and we're going to get into Luka Doncic talk. Right now, the Mavs are currently the 4th seed in the Western Conference, and Luka Doncic has been playing out of his mind so far. There's been 40-point triple-doubles from Luka Doncic. I think he's gotten 2 wet boys so far this year. He's averaging 30 points, 9 boards, and 9.6 assists. So far, for Dave and I, it's kind of a victory lap.
Oh, yeah.
We pretty much told you so.
How dumb would you have to be to pass on Luka Doncic in the draft?
I mean, a lot of teams did.
You got to be kicking yourself pretty hard over that, you think?
Could you imagine being a Suns fan or a Kings fan? Oof. But yeah. Right now, Dave and I are happy with pigs and shit. It's been great. I was wrong at the start. I said Michael Porter was going to be better, but injuries happen, and I smartly wised up to Luka Doncic for GOAT, and so far it's been working out. Ricky, bring us back to reality, though. Can Luka Doncic win MVP?
Oh, no, he is. He's going to win MVP. And
what
this is why
I did not see that coming.
No.
I am so...
Because I don't think it's happening.
Well, I think it is. And the thing is he going to keep up this pace all year round? Maybe not. Maybe he falls off of it. But, if KP is still playing like KP has, more of that load's going to go on Luka's shoulders. Luka's young. He don't have to worry about load management. So, I mean, he can put up these numbers all year. And if more and more of these stars are going to be managing their load, then Luka can win MVP.
I mean,
you're just trying to get me right now.
What, with managing their loads?
Yeah.
That these superstars need to manage their loads and not blow it?
Can't
blow their loads.
He's 7 years old again.
And 7-year-olds are not talking like that. You're like 14.
Junior high.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. Is he putting up MVP numbers right now?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think there is a clear candidate for MVP right now, Dave, and I think,
he's
correct
the
me
best
if I'm
player in
wrong.
basketball right now? LeBron James?
Well, I mean, LeBron's a fair one. You could throw out LeBron 17-2. I mean, that's there too. But what about the reigning MVP as well? Giannis Antetokounmpo has the team has the second best record in the NBA right now, and he's having a better year than he did last year. He's averaging 30 points, 13 boards, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. A block and a half and a steal and a half a game on 55.9 shooting, and he's shooting 29% from 3. But we even saw last year, later on in the season, he got better. So he could possibly even be like shooting 33% when it comes to the end of the season. What is putting Giannis at a disadvantage here? I mean, he won it last year. Why couldn't he win it this year?
It's storyline, man. This is why NBA awards suck sometimes, because it's narrative. If you can tell, and I know Ricky's a big fan of this, if you can tell the narrative of someone, then you get bonus points, basically. And Giannis has had that storied run from going from that skinny kid who everybody kind of scratched their heads at his high draft pick, and then he built up added muscle, added skill, added basketball IQ. Like, he just kept building on that. Could have won Most Improved Player a couple years in a row, like the way he was making leaps. And he finally got there. He got to the pinnacle. He got to the Eastern Conference Finals only to be slayed by Kawhi Leonard, the eventual champion. I think the lack of storyline for this year might hurt him. I think that Luka Doncic being the wonder kid out there is a lot in his favor. But I look at that and I think the third guy, LeBron James, if you're going to be one of the best team in the NBA and the best player, and at his age, putting up his numbers, the only way he doesn't win it is if he does go back and start doing some load management, cutting his minutes a little, cutting his games played. Then he might get out of it. But right now, he looks elite. Like, he absolutely looks elite, and he's playing point guard, which is something that he has not done full time ever.
You'd hope the best player in the NBA looks elite.
No, but I mean, like, it's funny because, he started off as a shooting guard, then small forward, then power forward, now point guard. Like, he does it all, and we've known he's defended 5 positions in a playoff game before. Like LeBron James is just LeBron fucking James at this point in his career. But it's crazy to think that he's going to be doing it on the best team in the NBA now. And I think that's the one thing where I'm like, if he plays 4 games or something like that, and he continues doing what he's doing, just at will scoring, assisting at a crazy rate, keeping up defensively, and this team wins 60-plus games, it's hard to look away from him because he is the biggest name in the sport.
Yeah, and I think there's probably just one other candidate that we haven't talked about, so let's just get him out there, because I think right now we'd probably say there's 4 guys, and you could always correct me if I'm wrong, 4 guys that could be MVP right now. LeBron, Giannis, Luka, like we said, and then James Harden.
Yeah.
I mean, he's averaging 37.7 points, which was more than last year.
Yeah.
And last year, 2 of us voted for him for MVP.
Yep.
So I don't think we can write him off in any facet that he can't be MVP again.
True.
And he deserved it last year, I thought. And if he wasn't deserving last year, I think he's more deserving this year because this team's better than they were last year. So I would think that James Harden's at least in the conversation. Ricky, you gave me a little bit of what's up?
Because, I mean, number one, you got to think of it this way. If I'm doing prediction style, NBA voters, like, look back to the Russ year. Oh, my God, he had he averaged a triple-double all year. The next year, it's like, all right, that's cool. Like, we're on to the next thing. James Harden, he already won it. We're on to the next thing. And the thing that I think that will be the main thing and feed into that storyline is I know we're going to get to pretenders later, and maybe one of us see the Mavs as maybe a pretender. Some of us may see them contenders. But if they're a top 4 team in the West, like, that feeds into Luka's. Like, if they're able to be a top 4 team and even... Let's see, how many games are they back right now? Yeah, they're in the race.
Yeah.
So, like, if Luka's able to bring them to top 3, top 2, and be over the Clippers or over the Lakers, like, no, you can't never say never. That's what Justin Bieber taught us.
Here.
Say never.
Here, now I'll give you an actual for sure thing that is going to happen. It's not going to happen because I'm saying that it won't happen. I'll bet something that Luka and Dallas won't be top 2.
Okay. You've lost
then they
every
will.
bet.
That's why I'm saying.
No, you have to bet that they will.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I'll bet that they won't, and then they will.
Yeah.
He's
betting. I bet that they won't, and they will, because I'm always wrong.
Yeah. That's what we're saying.
So I'll bet that they won't be top 2.
And then they will be top 2.
Exactly. That's
but they won't be top 2 because I don't think they will be top 2.
Game.
So I'll bet.
He knows this shit.
That it's top 2. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll shave my head if they're top 2 in the Western Conference. It's not going to happen.
Shave your head too.
Why?
Everyone should shave their heads.
But see, the problem is you guys have
that sounds mind-washy. Actually,
that sounds bad.
Cancel that.
You guys have beards though. I can't grow a beard, so like you guys can pull off a shaved head look. I can't. I just look fucking weird. Like it's
I have weird shit under my head. My hair. I don't know. I don't think I got a good head for it. Anyways,
I look good.
I don't think there's any possible way that the Mavericks could be top 2. I mean, what am I missing here? I mean, you still have the Clippers.
They're
still have
playing
the
this
Lakers.
well without
you still have the Nuggets.
KP being fully back. I think that's the answer. Is you just say they're gonna get better in theory because you're gonna go back and get a better offensive KP. Like, is their shooting gonna continue to be as hot and as streaky as it is right now? Probably not. I don't think that's sustainable. But I do think that Luka's playmaking will continue to play a factor. I think that they go out, they get rebounds, they got interesting rotations. Carlisle has done a really good job of keeping the right guys on the court at the right time. So credit to them as a team. Like they're in a position to compete for a top 4 spot in the West, I think, and a team led by Luka, absolutely. Like there's a reason he'll be in that top for MVP. But I agree. I'm with you. I think Harden's up there because literally the same reason he's doing a carry job on a team. They're overperforming right now with guys. Eric Gordon's out. They're also missing another player. I can't remember his name. Danny House is finally back, but it's storyline, and you have to be at the top of your division. So that's why it's 3 from the West, 1 from the East. And I don't really see the only other guy, and I don't even see him there. It's like Pascal Siakam's the one that people are trying to push into existence. And yes, he's taken a huge step forward this year,
especially without Kawhi being there carrying that team.
He's just not on the same level as everybody else is yet. I'm sorry, like Giannis is. Again, he has like a PER of like 32 or something ridiculous. Luka has a PER of 32. Do
you think
LeBron James way up there.
Siakam finishes in like the
top 10
top
voting?
10 or even top 5?
I don't think top 5. I think top 10.
LeBron's right now at his favorite number at 27, because 27,
awesome.
7, 7.
Yeah.
It's 27.8. Harden's at 30.4. Giannis is at 32.9, and Luka is at 32.9 for their purse.
Yeah.
I don't know what Siakam's is right now, but those are at least the numbers.
Right. So, no, I think that maybe AD gets in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep feeding him early, like, he gets hot and he stays hot throughout games, it'll be crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it's funny to look at the East and you just go, no. Nope. Nobody else there. Like, I'm sorry. It is what it is, and I don't see a single other guy. Like, the only other guy who might compete for it is, like, if Bradley Beal can continue to put up numbers, but he's already falling.
There's no way. I mean, he's already falling, and a team...
No, I'm saying voting-wise, just because, like, top 10, you can almost just give credit for, like, you had a good year even if your team didn't.
But I mean, we're talking about guys that are actually
you're
going
a top 4 seed usually.
Guys that are going to threaten, there's no way. And right now, Siakam's per is 19.7.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not even the stratosphere of the other guys. But with all that said, I want to go to the Luka because this is what the topic's all about.
Yeah.
This is why I don't think he's going to be a threat. Mm-hmm. Last year, through his first 55 games, we saw that he was blazing hot. There was no one even touching him for Rookie of the Year. Yeah. And then Trae Young had a great second half, and Luka fell off. In the first half last year, 20 points per game for Luka, 7.2 boards, 5.6 assists, 43% shooting, 34% from three, right? And then we started seeing Luka get a little bit tired. Luka had to do that carry job. So if we don't think that Kristaps can flip it and turn it back, we might see second half Luka again where he's putting up 22 points per game, which is great, 9.9 boards, 7.2 assists, but he wasn't efficient enough, 41.7 and then 26.4 from the field. So Luka did fall off later in the season because he did get so tired, and he was doing so much for this team.
Counterpoint to that would be they did trade off a good portion of their team for KP. They made a couple moves, so he was down to playing with a bunch of guys who shouldn't be getting as many minutes, which meant, yes, more of a load on his shoulders. The other thing is that you have to remember, last offseason, he didn't have an offseason. He had been basically playing throughout, so this was his first true offseason.
Like draft workouts and stuff, like getting
he was still playing in EuroLeague.
Like, that too.
Yeah, he did not have as much of a time to recover in body. So, like, he had a true offseason with an NBA caliber, like, weight room training staff, all of that stuff. Like, he looks better. Cardio-wise, he looks better. He looks in good shape. He looks like he's got a good feel for it. So I think that those two things together, being on a consistent team throughout this whole year, I don't expect them to make any big splashy moves. They've made that move. They landed that second piece for him. So they've got consistency on the roster, and now he had a true offseason. He's in better shape, and I think his shooting should actually improve as the season goes on. He's not been great from three. He's been passable. But that's because right now he has like a green, just absolute green light. Anytime he feels comfortable.
Is he not going to ever have that green light?
No, and that's the thing. So. But you see him get like those cocky like step back threes, where it's like you shouldn't pull the trigger on that. But he's like, fuck it. Like there's a good chance I'll make it. This is good play, right?
That's why he's my favorite player.
Exactly.
I love the balls in this kid to be 20 years old and just go out and start, dropping step backs on people. Ricky, what do you think about the second half, first half things? Do you think that's going to be something that might rear its ugly head back?
I'm not really worried about it, but if you are sitting there, I kind of think of it this way, where it's like, has he pushed the average so high up right now that even if he falls down a little bit, it's just going to look like his hot start from last year? Where, like, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like last year's top end is now just going to be his normal for this year. Yeah, basically. Where it's like he's overshot it to where, even if there's a fall, it still looks really fucking good compared to the rest of the league.
Right, but if he does take that step back, I think he probably would fall out of the MVP, like the top 2, top 3 voting, because I don't expect James Harden to get much worse. I think James Harden's doing James Harden things, and we've seen him do it for a couple of years, and he's just going to keep being James Harden. So I'm not concerned about drop off there. Giannis, very similar. He's not going to get worse. He's still getting better, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, though, that I play into the storylines because also the media, like, this is a media-voted award.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't see James Harden winning it again because, let's be honest, the media hates James Harden.
They're not fans.
Number 2, with Giannis, I think one of the big things that will hurt him is that the East, I don't want to say they're not as competitive as it was last year. The level of
competition is lower.
Exactly. Like,
you took away
it's a lesser
best player
conference
in the East last year with Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
So now this year, the best player in the East outside of Giannis Antetokounmpo is Joel Embiid, who good, but not great. He's had some off nights. We're going to talk about it with Jake maybe a little, drop a mention.
And especially if, and I know it's still early, but, you look at teams like the Raptors, the Heat, the Celtics, who are game and a half, 2.5 back of the Bucks. If the Bucks aren't the 1 seed and one of those other 3 teams goes on a heater and takes that number 1 seed away, I feel like that hurts Giannis in the MVP voting because it's like, oh, really? You couldn't? A guy like Jimmy Butler, who, yes, I like him as a player, but he's not an MVP caliber player this year.
The Heat are doing it as a team this year. They're getting contributions left, right, and center. And everybody
even
out there's playing.
Kemba Walker's in the same boat, not in the MVP running, to where if one of those teams even takes over the Bucks, I think that hurts Giannis, where
I'd agree.
Luka, the big thing for him is if this team is
in that spot.
Exactly. And it's like, no matter where he is, even if he's 5 or 6, still an overachievement for this team, because how many people had this team in the playoffs this year?
But even then, if they fall off a little bit, I don't think it's going to kill them. If they're not top 4, I don't think it's going to be you can't win MVP. But I don't think that they're going to be able to keep it up enough to where he is going to be able to do this every single night. We saw that the Clippers were able to shut him down, and that's been the only team so far. But teams will be able to lay out a plan to where if Luka is the only one that is threatening him, they will try to shut him down and get the ball out of his hands.
Denver had a similar performance. I'm going to give them some credit. He did have a pretty off shooting night against them as well. So, but outside of that, those are the only 2 games he's really had anything more than a struggle. I think Denver, he only put up 12, 4, and 5. Pretty pedestrian for Luka. Playing 32 minutes, but you look at that Dallas versus fucking Clipper game, and holy shit, 4-14, 0 of 8 from 3. I mean, they just smothered him. Still got 22, 8, and 6, 3 steals. Again, if you look at half of his stat line, sure, if you're box score watching, but if you saw the game, how well they covered, how well they switched on him, there was very little gap. There was a little air between him and his defenders out there. So I think that it does take a team effort to lock him down and force him to play uncomfortably, because once you can take him out of his game, the rest of that team right now isn't good enough to play up. So I think you'll see more doubles as the year goes on, kind of like we saw Trae Young in college and a little of Stars Kerr. Just if you put multiple guys on him and force him to pass out, the team itself will fall. And I think that's where we could see them sliding in the standings.
Where we know that LeBron can do this each and every year. We know that Harden can do this each and every year. We know that Giannis can do this each and every year. They're going to try to lay out a plan to stop Luka Doncic, and obviously plans have been laid out to stop the other guys as well before. They're going to try to lay out a plan to stop Luka Doncic, and if he cannot beat it, then they're just going to continue to roll it out. And every NBA team will watch that tape and just try to do it and replicate it each and every single night. So we know the storyline's there for Luka, right? Wonder Kid, kid that isn't super athletic, but he is just
7'11", baby.
Super smooth, super silky. Also just has balls for a 20-year-old. Insane. He's a professional. But what are the storylines then for Giannis? If Giannis then goes out and let's say he is at least first seed again in the Eastern Conference, and let's say he continues these stats, what's the storyline that gives Giannis the win for MVP?
I think with him it's got to be 2 ways. He's got to be a monster offensively and defensively. This has to be the year he wins both Defensive Player of the Year and MVP if he's going to win MVP.
That is actually a really good call. There's a chance he can pull it off. He's putting up gaudy numbers, and I think that,
he's the leader right now in defensive win share. He's got 97 defensive rating. He's got a 5 defensive box score plus minus, which was the same as last year.
The defense will be the one to set him apart.
Yeah, I think that's his key to success, because I didn't know he could get better offensively. It was like, dude, how are you progressing this quickly as a player?
Shooting threes is about it.
He's finishing better too. He's doing everything a little bit better. His court vision's improving. Everything over time has gotten better. And I thought it might take a step back this year with the loss of Malcolm Brogdon, one of their best floor spacers, one of their most efficient shooters. But he's continued to run this offense well, and they're just plug and playing guys at this point, and it's working for them well enough. So I think Giannis's individual performances has continued to climb, and he plays up to matchups. So I'm just super impressed by him still getting better, which is, again, he's only 25. Terrifying.
James Harden, if he wins it, what's the storyline on him? Especially if he's averaging. I mean, is it just this guy averaged 37 points per game?
The second best scorer ever.
And I feel like the Rockets have to be, if they're the 5th seed like they are right now, he ain't winning MVP. They got to be probably a 1 seed.
They're tied for 4th. They've got a conference loss.
They're with
the Mavs. They're right
the
there.
Mavericks, but I mean, they're not out of it. But I feel like if James Harden, if they end as the 5th seed or even the 4th seed, he ain't winning MVP. They've got to be
37. What's his assist and rebound numbers? I'm sorry.
37.
I know his rebounds have taken a hit because Russ is hawking
and
for him.
7.
Yeah.
Team success plays into it. They got to be a higher seed for him to win it. I think.
I don't know. I mean, if he puts up the most points,
Who scored 37 points in a year last?
I mean, LeBron. Or
no,
sorry, not LeBron.
Wilt?
No, I think it was Jordan.
Jordan didn't have a 37 year.
He did.
He had a 35, I thought.
He had 37.
Oh shit.
37 and 86-87. 82 games played.
Damn.
So I mean if you're beating a LeBron, I keep
Michael
on saying
Jordan
LeBron,
record?
A Jordan record.
Yeah,
that's got to be it in my mind. But yeah, Jordan said it back then. Kobe's highest was 35.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like he's just an incredible. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time, and it's terrifying that he's just doing it like at will. He has no regard. He has that short-term memory of like, I'm gonna take this shot. It's not gonna go in. Don't care. Next time down the court, I'm gonna take the same exact shot. Like he has that ability to just keep going. It's exactly what you want in a quarterback. He learns from his mistakes, but he's not going to shy away from taking the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder now, too, is if Luka would be the youngest MVP, and if LeBron won it, would he be the oldest MVP? So would that be the storyline for LeBron being the oldest MVP at 35 or being one of the older players to win it?
That's actually a great question. Yeah, I think it's a great parallel, too, because it seems like Luka is the kid who right now is trying to smash through LeBron's scoring records for at X games played in the NBA or at X age. Like, what are you able to do?
LeBron's 35.
Yeah, Karl Malone.
He would
35.
tie Karl Malone.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's incredible what LeBron's doing. And again, he's changed his game over and over and over throughout the NBA, throughout his career in the NBA. So, it's incredible. And his new role as the primary facilitator, score, get it done in crunch. Like, I have nothing but respect for the guy. It's just terrifying to think that they're this good because I did not see this coming. I didn't see him being able to work with AD as well as they are. And the fact that they've only lost 2 games is what?
LeBron's
going to be 35 in December, which will make him as Karl Malone. And this is who I thought it was too. Youngest MVP.
Derrick Rose?
No.
D Rose, 22.
Yeah, it's D Rose.
So Luka would be youngest
MVP. If he was the youngest or second youngest.
Yeah, so he'd be well, not a long shot anymore because of Giannis. There's like a 2-year difference or 1-year difference now with Giannis and D Rose. But yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's just from 20 to 22. Like that's.
Oh, I thought you meant D Rose was the youngest MVP by a long shot.
No. I mean, like, if Luka wins this year, this is like
absolutely
mind-boggling.
But yeah, that'd be at least the youngest and oldest stuff.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes down to it, at the end of the year, we're picking between LeBron and Luka. That's what I feel. Like Giannis, I'm going to keep him in the running at 3, but I feel like the big 2 at the end of the year will be LeBron if the Lakers continue to do what they're doing, and the Mavericks if they still continue to be a top 4 team in the West.
I think Luka's going to fall off. I think it's going to be either Harden if he continues to average this amount of points or Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not too high on LeBron just because I think people have LeBron fatigue. I don't think people are going to give it to him unless they're breaking records win-wise or they're like,
there's a chance.
This could be LeBron's last chance at an MVP.
If they have 69
lost 2
wins.
games this year. One was Kawhi going fucking Super Saiyan on them in the opener of the season, which Kawhi hasn't played half as well in any game since, so that took a hell of a performance out of him. And the other one was the Toronto loss, which he did not shoot well, and I'll be honest, several people on that team did not play well. So it took a lot of effort, but everything since then, like, just insane assist numbers. The guy's this old, and he's just so athletic still. I don't know how he does it. There's a lot of steroids in basketball. I'll just say that.
Can't wait for Clippers Lakers.
Yesterday was
20 years. I wouldn't be shocked if like stories came out about like the amount of like HGH and shit in basketball.
Yesterday was the 19th anniversary of the first PED suspension in basketball history.
Who was it?
That's Don McLean, I think it was. No, that's the guy that sung American Pie.
I was like,
who is it? Shit.
Sorry to put you on the spot. You said it like you knew it like that.
I did.
So
I wrote it down yesterday because I was prepping for a show. I have it. Hold on. Let me go back in my email.
NBA
stall.
PED
Stall.
suspension.
Stall.
Now, I'm not by any means saying that LeBron James is doing HGH or anything like that. But
You've been saying that for a while.
I've been saying that.
Don't act like you haven't done it. I got it right here. Yeah, Don McLean. What the hell? It's Don McLean. I was right.
Okay. I don't doubt it.
Come on. This is bad.
This is so bad. You're just stalling for
Yeah, there it is. It is. I was spelling it wrong.
Okay.
Don McLean, 49 years old, from Palo Alto. First round draft pick, 19th selection from the Detroit Pistons, 1992. Went to UCLA, and in November 2000, the NBA suspended McLean for 5 games for testing positive for steroids. He was the first player suspended for steroid use. Charles Barkley later commented, "I've seen Don McLean naked. He does not use steroids." Go Bears. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. So I mean, maybe LeBron's juicing, but I'm not gonna throw that out there because LeBron could sue me for.
Yeah, of course.
For libel, but final
plus
thoughts
we've
on
all seen
MVP.
we've all seen his on live TV.
That's true,
and we know he ain't juicing.
That's true.
Final thoughts.
Thanks for putting that image back in my head.
Final thoughts about
nothing.
LeBron's dick.
I got nothing.
He just wanted us all to see
nothing.
it.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, we did have the Lakers.
Yeah.
Ricky had the Lakers as the 5th seed. Dave had him as the 4th seed, and I had him as the 2 seed. So I was right, LeBron. Just remember that when you try to sue us for saying you're on steroids. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below about the MVP. Who do you think it's going to be? Can it be Luka? Does Luka have a shot? Let us know down in the comments below.